Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Oscar Buzz, episode 26. Kind of a Frankenstein's monster of an episode last weekend, and it was the week of the Oscars. We did a video of us watching the Oscars, and it was a disaster. And we are not going to talk about it because it's already been talked to death.
No.
So we're just
Yes.
going to talk about.
Well, not all of it's been talked to death. One moment in particular has been talked to death. Let's make that clear.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of the production elements of the show have been talked to death.
Yeah, that is true.
And yes, one moment in particular. But we're just going to talk about some new movies and some stuff that could be contending this year, and also within the depending on how this gets released, our 2023 predictions are coming very soon.
Yeah,
we're
excited.
recording them right after this. Yeah. I'm very excited for them.
Yeah, I'm sure nothing will change by this time next year. Nothing will change.
Yeah, nothing will change.
They'll all be correct immediately.
Yep, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for Best Picture. All right.
Of course.
Let's talk about some news.
Okay.
Kathryn Bigelow is making her return to filmmaking with a Netflix thriller called Aurora. So Kathryn Bigelow, of course, the first female director to win for The Hurt Locker. We now have 2 in a row between Chloe Zhao and Jane Campion. Also, just what a trio!
Yeah.
But she's coming back. She also did Zero Dark 30 in 2012, which I think that Jessica Chastain should have won for over Jennifer Lawrence that year. But that's just me.
Maybe.
I think it's close.
Yeah.
And then she also did Detroit, which was one of the biggest this had Oscar buzz movies. Something that should have been like way more in the conversation than it was, and we all thought it was going to be in the conversation, and then it was just like no, it just isn't. It was like The Last Duel of that year, where we were all just like, this is gonna be it, and it was like, no, actually no. So Aurora, it's a thriller. I don't know that much about the novel, but I mean, it's Kathryn Bigelow, it's Netflix. This is going to be coming out in 2023, I'm assuming.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, Netflix have been banging on that door for a Best Picture win since about 2018 with Roma. So you do just wonder, when will it be? Will it be this year? I don't know. There's quite a lot of stuff this year, so it may not be this year, but next year, who knows? Because Netflix have been pumping more and more money into each Oscar campaign each year. So yeah, it's good that it is getting a major streaming platform like this. Kathryn Bigelow, obviously, very credited director. It's clear she knows what she's doing. And yeah, this just sounds cool. It could be in the conversation like The Hurt Locker was, like to an extent Zero Dark 30 was, or it could be Detroit. To be honest, who really knows at this point?
Yeah. And honestly, Netflix is looking kind of weak this year.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I think maybe Rustin is their best chance at something.
Yeah.
The George C. Wolfe's follow-up to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. But I really don't know what is actually a big contender for Netflix. I would say their biggest chance would be if they pick up Bardo, because that doesn't have any U.S. distribution rights yet.
Yeah, maybe.
Because other than that, what do they actually have?
See, I don't know. They don't really have anything.
Pinocchio, I guess.
But that's
and My Father's Dragon animated. Yeah, I really don't think Netflix has that much. We can circle back to it. I do have what Aurora is about. So it's actually titled Aurora because it takes place in Aurora, Illinois, a suburb of Chicago, in my home state. That's fun. And it is about a woman who is trying to get by after her semi-criminal ex-husband split, leaving behind his unruly teenage son. And then it's a solar storm knocks out power everywhere, and then there's like a bunch of problems, and then the woman has to like escape with her son. So like
Okay.
this feels blockbustery,
Hmm.
yet it's Kathryn Bigelow, and we know that like she can handle blockbusters like this.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
because I mean, The Hurt Locker made a lot of money, even though it was like,
yeah,
even though it is a drama, it still made a lot of money.
yeah,
So, you know, yeah, we'll see. We'll see.
we will see for sure, for sure. Yeah, I'm just looking at Netflix's slate. Like they really don't have any. I guess they have The Killer with
Yeah, but I mean,
Fincher, but I don't think that's going to
yeah,
be
I didn't
that
think
big a
that's
player.
massive.
They
No.
have You People and Till, which are two like racial dramas. I think You People is done by the creator of Blackish.
Okay.
And then to like, so I guess maybe those could be things. They have The Wonder, which is a period drama with Florence Pugh. But
Mm,
yeah, Netflix really doesn't have much. They just had a Politan and a Half, which we'll be talking about later.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, pretty weak year for Netflix overall, it looks. I
Yeah.
do honestly think that Rustin is their best chance of getting anything.
Maybe. But with how strong like everything else is,
Yeah,
I don't even know. I don't even know.
yeah, yeah, for sure. But as far as this though, looking at 2023, this could be a hit for Netflix. Especially, I mean, if Kathryn Bigelow can make something just on the level of The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30 again, like
Yeah.
we're in for a treat as an audience. Um, all right. So Novelty is going to be getting a theatrical release by Warner Brothers, which will qualify it for the Oscars. I mean, we aren't talking about 2023 Oscars predictions yet, but like, come on, the movie about the political opposition to Vladimir Putin this
Yeah.
year, like,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. Like
I don't.
the literal only problem with this film is if it does end up being the front runner, and this is the front runner they choose to snub this year. That is
Yeah,
like the only thing you can do against it. But even that, I don't see happening. Like they didn't snub the front runner this year with Summer of Soul. They snubbed a fairly strong contender with The Rescue.
yeah,
So, like, yeah, I don't know. It just feels right that this will be one that will do quite well, and maybe
yeah.
even win, and maybe even win.
I feel confident about I okay, it's hard to say I feel confident about it winning, but like
Yeah.
if I were to lock in any category right now, like
Hmm.
any one of the 23 categories right now, I would choose best documentary.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It's the
Maybe.
one that I would feel the most like granted confidence level still low since we're a year out, but it's the one that I feel the most confident in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just it makes sense. Um, Director John Carney, who's had a couple Oscar-nominated films, is going to direct a Bee Gees biopic for Paramount. His most recent film being Sing Street,
Hmm.
which I don't believe got any Oscar nominations, but it did get a couple of Golden Globe nominations, including Best Motion Picture, Musical, or Comedy.
Yeah.
And then he's also done Begin Again and Once, both of which were nominated for Best Original Song at the Oscars. Once won Best Original Song. So Best Original Song you can't really judge with something like that, but like Sing Street was very beloved in
Yeah.
2016.
Yeah.
Now he's doing a biopic about the Bee Gees. Like I could see this being a contender. Again, I don't think this is going to be coming out until 2023 if we're just hearing about it now.
Hmm.
Um, but like looking just very far ahead, I wouldn't be shocked if this is in the conversation. Have you seen Sing Street?
I have not seen Sing Street.
Okay, neither have I, but I've heard very good things about it. The boyfriend from Coda is the star of it.
Okay.
Um, uh, so he has a very fun name too. It's Freda Walsh Pilo.
Hmm.
What a fun name. But yeah, I mean, again, it's a biopic about a
Yeah.
band.
So just because this is the same one Kenneth Branagh was going to be directing, so did Kenneth Branagh get sort of, I get not kicked off probably, but
As of now, I think the
move
only
from the
thing that
project?
Kenneth Branagh has coming up is just a third Agatha Christie film.
Okay, because I knew
that
he
he's
was
directing.
going to direct this Bee Gees biopic, but I guess they've changed their mind.
I think it's going to John Carney now. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Well, there
which
you go.
interesting, interesting. But yeah, I mean, this could 100% be a thing.
It
It's
could. It
it's
could
hard
well
to
be.
tell at this point, considering like he hasn't done that much with awards contenders,
No.
but this is definitely the most awards bait.
Awardsy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Film.
yeah, that he's done so far. So yeah. I didn't put this on the document, but Gary Oldman has joined the cast of Oppenheimer.
Oh, another one. Another
Another
one.
one. Just
Yeah.
everybody. Like
Everyone.
if it wins Best Picture, just the entire crowd is going to get up on stage.
Yeah. Yeah. Just everyone who's been in a Christopher Nolan movie prior is just going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Christian Bale added next, or you know,
Heath Ledger
like
will arise from the dead.
yes,
All
yeah,
right. We had a couple of Cannes announcements. Both Disappointment Boulevard and Bardo are going to Cannes Film Festival.
Hmm.
So this is fun.
Yes,
Um, we also have we know Top Gun Maverick is going there. Elvis is going there.
yeah,
The 3,000 Years of Longing is going to be going there. It's gonna be a fun festival.
for sure, for sure.
So yeah. And then I think Bardo is also going to Venice as well. It was announced, so it's making the rounds.
Okay,
But yeah. Oh wait, no, I lied. Bardo is going to
okay,
Venice. It is skipping Cannes now.
right.
So
Okay,
Bardo is
there we
going
go.
straight to Venice, and
Yeah.
then Disappointment Boulevard is going to Cannes. There.
Okay.
All right, got
Cool.
it. We're all
Got it.
good now.
Got it.
Misread that. All right, but Disappointment Boulevard going to Cannes is actually pretty interesting because I don't think Midsommar or Hereditary did that. So
No.
already showing that A24 is going to try to push this.
Yeah, and I hope they do because I hope Ari Aster's work is recognized this year. Like I'm sure it will be eventually, but the sooner the better.
Yeah,
The sooner they realize that his work is some of the best films of the past decade, the better.
yeah,
So I'm glad that this is being more pushed for an Oscars campaign. That's always good to
yeah,
see. But yeah, as you say, all these films premiering at Cannes, it should hopefully provide us with a slightly better picture of the best picture and the Oscars race in general.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Like, I don't know. I don't feel that confident in Disappointment Boulevard right
I don't
now,
either.
but
I don't either.
but
But
I I mean, I'm glad that we'll get to see some reactions out of Cannes, so that
yeah,
way, like, we might be able to start inserting it into predictions.
yeah, yeah.
And then Bardo, I'm really curious to see how Bardo is going to be received because, like, I feel like everybody's just forgotten about, the COVID thing.
The COVID. Yeah,
For refresher for anybody who's listening, the Inuritu did not follow any of the COVID guidelines while shooting this film during COVID, and it resulted in the deaths of multiple crew members from COVID. So I just I feel like this is going to be a thing that's going to like resurface like right around the time the
maybe.
movie's
Yeah.
coming out, and it's going to get a big push against it, and it's going to be like the Oscars controversy and film Twitter's villain and everything, because like that has to be part of the conversation, right?
Yeah, you'd imagine
um,
so.
like I still think it could probably get into international, but I don't know about anything else.
No,
Right?
which is weird considering he 2 years in a row won Best Director. The
Yeah,
Oscars clearly do love him.
yeah,
So it will be interesting to see how much of this controversy they take on board, and will they do anything like just block it out completely, or will they
yeah,
nominate it for a few things, which we could
yeah,
see. We could see it get into like international, but then nothing else. That is a thing that I could definitely see happening.
yep,
As I do agree with you, I don't see it getting like picture or director. I just, especially
yep,
since it's foreign language as well, it's got quite a bit working against it to get into those major categories.
yeah, for sure, for sure. So regardless, two very exciting festival announcements. Yeah, I mean Venice could be stacked this year. Like the fall festivals could be stacked if they get like Babylon, The Fablemans, Killers of the Flower Moon, Women Talking, Canterbury
Mm.
Glass. Like what a great fall festival season we'll be
Yeah.
in for in what 5 months now.
Mm.
Like a
Yeah.
lot to look forward to. Speaking of Babylon, there were some preview screenings of it.
Mm.
Reactions very positive.
Cool. Cool.
Very positive. I also, if you, both you as in you, Thomas, or you as in you, the audience, uh, would like to, the first draft of the script is available online.
Mm.
If you want to read it, I read like the first 20 to 30 pages. I didn't want to read the full thing to like spoil the film, but I wanted to get a sense of like just like the tone of the writing, and it's like really good. Um,
Okay.
it's like on par with some of Chazelle's best writing, and this was the first draft that
Yeah.
was put out. So I think we're in for a great film. I think there is a chance because like it's gonna be wild, like you know how wild Wolf of Wall Street was. It's like that times like five.
Mm.
Just as far as like you like it could be it's gonna be a hard R teetering on an X rating. Um,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
not going to get an X rating because it's like they wouldn't do that or not X but NC-17.
Mm.
But like it's not going to get that rating, but it's gonna be cut down like to a very hard R. So we'll see if the Academy will go for it.
Mm.
Because like it's a very indulgent, wild screenplay.
Yeah.
But they went for Wolf of Wall Street, so
Yeah. And let's not forget that, like, surely this, them giving Best Picture to La La Land and then taking it away, like,
yeah.
surely that is weighing on the Oscars' minds. Like, they may want to reward Damien Chazelle,
I
because,
mean,
give him his actual moment.
to be fair, like they didn't do First Man. Like,
No, no, that is true. So we'll need to see how this film is, like, received. If
yeah,
this film is received well, it automatically shoots it up into Best Picture contention for me.
yeah. I mean, I think it already is in strong Best Picture
Yeah. I
contention,
think
and it's
it's,
not like
yeah, at
because like
least in the top three. At least in the top
yeah,
three so far.
and like First Man still got 4 Oscar noms and it won an Oscar. It was just
Mm.
all it was all below the line in tech stuff. But like it's not like I mean, you could still say every single one of Chazelle's films has received at least 4 Oscar nominations,
Yeah.
and every single one of his films have won at least one Oscar. So
Yeah.
like, still pretty strong. Um, and I don't see why this would be any different. It's just a matter like this is going to get nominations regardless. It's just a
Mm.
matter of if it is in contention to be like winning picture or not.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. This is a fun one and something that I think could actually be a very big contender. I don't know if it's coming out this year or next year, but Ron Howard is making a Jim Henson documentary.
Mm. Yeah.
So that's just fun. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I love Jim Henson. The Muppets are a big part of my childhood. So it should be nice to see this. Like, it would be very nostalgic for me. So yeah, and I mean, I like Ron Howard as a director enough. Like, I don't
yeah.
think he's the world's greatest director, but I do
No.
love A Beautiful Mind. That is
Mhm.
one that does come to mind immediately. And then there are also some that maybe I don't like as much, like Solo.
Grinch.
Like, yeah, and The Grinch.
Emilio
And like
Lizzie.
any of those, I don't remember his name, Robert Langdon films, The
Oh,
Da Vinci Code and
the
like
Da Vinci
Inferno.
Code. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those ones. They're not for me either. They're like national treasure, but if you want to feel a bit more classy,
What
that
about
is
what
hard.
about Splash? You a fan of
I
Splash?
have not seen Splash. I have not
Neither
seen
have I.
Splash. No, there we go. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Jim Henson documentary automatically has me interested. Plus, Ron Howard, it does suggest they are trying to push this as like a big documentary.
This feels like a
Um,
Sundance premiere. Sorry to cut
Yeah,
you off.
maybe,
This feels like a
maybe.
Sundance premiere, like
Yeah,
2023 Sundance.
yeah. So yeah, I'm fairly looking forward to it.
Me
It's
too.
like
Me too.
anytime a documentary gets like a big director like this, you know it's going to at least be near the conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, look at Somersault. Got
Yeah,
questled. Not
yeah,
that he's like a big director, but he is a big name.
yeah.
Speaking of documentaries, we won't be doing a review of it, but I just watched Lucy and Desi the other day. It was something that I missed at Sundance, but it's out on Amazon Prime right now, and it's very good. I mean, it's what I wanted
Okay.
being the Ricardos to be.
Yeah.
It really it is more of like a cradle to grave, but I think that format works better as a like for documentaries rather than narratives. Just because of the nature of the format. You can
Mm,
do kind of whatever you want with narrative. Documentary, you're kind of limited to the information that's out there, the interviews that you can get,
yeah.
you have a lot more limitations. So Cradle to Grave makes more sense, but it's a very good documentary. It's directed by
Hmm.
Amy Poehler, and I don't think it's going to be an Oscars contender, but I would suggest checking it out. It's one of the better documentaries I've seen so far this year. So
Okay.
just
Cool.
wanted to throw a quick shout out to it.
Yeah.
All right. Last piece of news here is we did get some footage from the greatest beer run ever.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think anybody was really aware of it until the Oscar expert was like tweeted something and was like, "Hey, why have I not seen this?" And everybody else was like, "I haven't seen it either." What?
Yeah.
And it looks like it's clips. It's just the clips from Greatest Beer Run Ever from like some sort of like Apple TV, like what's coming this year montage.
Mm.
Um, and like it looks fine. It looks even less visually distinct than Green Book.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if this is really going to be a thing,
No, I don't have it
but
anywhere.
it's
Like, yeah. I
I have
mean,
it
it
in
also,
I have it
yeah,
in
it's
25th for Best Picture.
okay. I mean, it's also just very hard to gauge what a film will be like from 15 seconds of
Yeah,
no context clips. Like,
yeah,
you can't, they didn't give you much and you can't really judge this film
yeah.
based on that. Who
So
knows? Maybe it will be very visually distinctive. I doubt it, but,
yeah,
it could be.
I mean,
And these are just
it
poor
won't
clips.
necessarily,
It
probably.
won't
Like,
be. It won't be. But,
um,
that's the point. You can't really understand what a film would be like from clips like these, but equally, yeah, sure, fun to see this
Uh,
nonetheless.
I was able to read like what the plot of the novel is. I'll probably read the novel. I'm currently reading Killers of the Flower Moon and not she said and Women Talking.
Okay.
Right now trying to prep myself for the adapted screenplay category.
Yeah.
They're both very very good. They're both
Okay.
very very good books. So yeah, I'll probably read Gravespear and Everett. The premise of it is just like so American. It is about a man who is traveling and like going on this adventure to bring beer to his like friends who are fighting the Vietnam War.
Okay. Okay. Yeah,
Um,
that does sound quite American.
it is a critically acclaimed novel by old white men,
Hmm.
and largely old white men exclusively. Um, who, from what I've seen, are very, very excited about this movie.
Okay.
Um, especially coming from the people who brought you them Green Book,
Yeah.
um, which I don't know what this will be. Sorry, I know you like Green Book,
Yeah, I know,
um,
but
but
that's okay.
I, yeah, I don't feel that confident about it. Like I said, I have it at number 25 for Best Picture.
Mm.
Maybe this could do something, but like I don't feel that confident about it.
No, no,
It,
yeah.
but who knows? I loved Green Book, so
They
we'll see.
did. They did.
All right, let's talk. Let's do some questions.
Okay. Cool.
All right, first question. We'll just do one question this time. Definitely slow down. These will be shorter shows in the Oscars off season.
Yeah.
Um, is Coda a good Best Picture winner?
Well, I was just going to go to Letterboxd and find my best picture rankings, but it's down, so I can't
Letterboxd
do
is
that.
down. Yep.
So I don't exactly remember where I put it in my Best Picture like ranked list. I think I put it towards like
You put it fourth or fifth.
think middle, but like yeah, so around then. And then overall in like Best Picture winners of all time ranked, I think again middle, but like lower end of
Yeah.
middle, so towards like not the bottom, but you know in that sort of region. So yeah, do I think it's a good Best Picture winner? Not really. Do I think it's the world's worst? No, I don't. I don't think. I don't think it'll be remembered like Crash is remembered. Like
No,
I
but I
know
think
people have. Yeah, people have made that comparison, but I don't think it'll be quite on the same level, or even Green Book for that extent. Like,
yeah. Because like because I would say the general consensus is that Crash and Green Book aren't great films.
mm,
I would say less so on Green Book. I would say the critical consensus is more middling on that one, and
yeah,
Crash is definitely negative. But then, like, I mean, I know I feel like this will be more of a King's Speech because, like, I think that the King's Speech is a good movie. I I
well,
I do. I
yeah.
mean, just like I think that
I think it's
Coda.
okay. It's okay.
I know. I like the King's Speech. It's no Social Network.
It's no social network.
And like I think that Coda is a good movie, but like I think in a year with The Power of the Dog and West Side Story and Drive My Car, which you just saw recently,
Yeah,
and like Licorice Pizza, like just some great movies. Like I think it will be looked back on as like really that one,
hmm.
like especially those first three: The Power of the Dog, Drive My Car, and West Side Story. And then I
Yeah,
would even throw in Dune into that.
maybe yeah. Because I mean, people were always clamoring for Dune to win Best Picture,
And like
undeservedly. I think it's one of the weakest in the bunch, but you
I
know,
agree,
people
but
were
like
wanting it to win.
I'm just saying as far as like the general consensus, people will look back on this year similar to like the King's Speech winning and be like, it was like really in a year with The Social Network and Inception and like
Hmm.
you went with this, which
Yeah,
because it's just like a smaller scale, just nice, fun crowd pleaser.
yeah,
That's like
yeah.
it's fun for what it is, but it isn't great. It isn't the best picture.
Hmm.
Um, I think that, and I think sadly, the reception of Coda will go down over the years, which I don't think it deserves. But
Yeah.
already, I mean, there's been backlash to it winning, which is sad because
Yeah.
like it doesn't
Well,
deserve
having
like
said that, like I think Power of It All would have received backlash from winning as well. Like especially from like the general public. Um I feel like that I feel like whatever they did would have received some backlash.
the
Like
Power of the Dog.
unless yeah,
The Power
yeah.
of the Dog would have gone down in history as a better winner, like than Coda.
Maybe among the critics, I think among the general public, I don't think Power of It All would have been received
I mean, it's not
that
like Coda
well.
was seen by everybody though. Like,
No, no.
I mean, like its numbers just went up a bunch because everybody's watching it because it just won
Yeah.
Best Picture. But like prior to it winning Best Picture, Coda's numbers were not that high on Apple TV.
No, no.
Like,
Yeah, put it this
like
way, it was like I think people will remember the journey that Coda went on more than the film itself. Like the
yeah,
journey of like being a nothing film that is very small. Apple's not putting any money into it to ending up winning Best Picture. That feels like a more interesting journey than the actual film winning itself. Like I don't think people really will care about Coda in what 10 years. Like I think actually very few Best Picture winners of recently people actually care about. I think Parasite will be remembered for sure
yeah.
because of
I think
how historic it was. I think Green Book as well will be remembered for how
the,
controversial it was.
yeah,
And like maybe Moonlight as well, I guess will probably be, but like
because of the La La
Spotlight,
Land.
yeah, but like Spotlight, Shape of Water, Nomadland, and throwing in Code as well. I don't know if they'll be remembered.
I think
Like
Nomadland is going to go down as like as far as like one of the best picture winners.
maybe
Um,
if it can, yeah, but equally it may be a film that is just forgotten about. So, Coda maybe just be thrown into this pile of films that, forgettable Best Picture winners. Like, I don't
yeah,
know, Shakespeare in Love. Nobody talks about Shakespeare in Love anymore. But they
yeah.
do talk about Titanic, which won the year prior. So
And we talked
that's
about
just
Saving
how
Private Ryan, which lost to
yeah,
Shakespeare in Love.
yeah. So
I
that's
mean,
just
like,
how these Oscars work. Some films will get forgotten about, some Best Picture winners will be remembered.
yeah. And like, I don't know, I feel like The Power of the Dog would have been remembered. And maybe
I don't
again,
know. I don't know.
more amongst like the film, critics and stuff, but like really like the Oscars is supposed to be for
It is. It is.
film people, like in like the film community. Like it isn't at this point, it isn't for the general public. So like I feel like as far as within the film community, Power of the Dog, Drive My Car, West Side Story, Dune, like they all would have been a lot more memorable.
Mm.
Um and I don't know. I just think that Coda like Dune would have been, memorable for everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I think this year, as much as it had some strong films in general, it didn't really have that many strong Best Picture contenders. Like Power of It was a strong, like it had most of the stats it needs, but equally,
yeah.
I'd say June was maybe actually the most memorable, I guess, in a way. Best Picture winner. Like it's hard to judge because we're looking like 10 years in the future, 20 years in the future.
Or
Which of
West
these
Side
films we
Story.
talk
Or
about?
West Side
Or
Story.
West, yeah. So I'd say West Side Story and maybe June with a two there, but
But like,
I don't think it was Coda. I think I put it this way. I don't know if Coda will be that negatively received. I just think it may be forgotten about.
yeah. I mean, yeah, it's I 100% agree. And like, yeah, it was a great year for movies, but like I feel like none of like at least like there isn't a single movie in my top 10 that was nominated for Best Picture.
No, because I mean, Tick Tick Boom got snubbed. So
Yeah. And then like everything else, like Teton, Come On, The
yeah,
Worst Person in the World, Shiva Baby, Annette, like and that might just be like my personal taste, like Spencer, Flea, Tragedy of Macbeth, like might be just be my personal taste, but like usually there's a couple, like I mean last year my top 10 was like, Nomadland,
yeah.
Minari, Judas and the Black Messiah, like, and this year it's just nothing. So
Mm.
it's interesting for sure. It's interesting for sure. But that is our conversation. There you go. We talked about the last Oscars. I actually would be curious to hear your thoughts on Drive My Car because you haven't talked about it on air at all.
No.
I don't think did you even do a letterboxd review?
I did. I said like, yeah, it wasn't a proper review.
Okay.
It was just a sentence pretty
But
much.
I'm curious to hear your thoughts before we get
Yeah,
into more reviews.
yeah. So I quite enjoyed it. I really did quite enjoy it. I think I put it second of all the Best Picture nominees. Like I never connected with it on the same way I connected with King Richard, and I had real passion for that film. I never did for this one because I did to an extent find it a little dull in places, and I don't think like even those who really love the film, I don't think if you ask them, they'll say, "Oh, it was just captivating the entire time," because it's 3 hours. It's very, very difficult to captivate someone for the entire time, but it did. And what I really found interesting about it was how it managed to captivate me without
Yeah.
me ever really understanding what was going on. Like, I feel if I rewatched it again, I still wouldn't really get to the bottom of what this film was
Like
about.
it's a
But
movie about feelings. It's a movie
yes,
just like about like
exactly.
just
So
feeling
it's
things.
a weird. It's sort
Yeah.
of a and a movie that's up for interpretation, an ambiguous movie is the word
Yeah.
I'd use to describe it. Like it's, but that does make for a fun experience because you are trying to get to the bottom of it. Therefore, like for the 3 hours, you're not bored. Like
Yeah.
yes, you are at points, but the overall experience, you are not bored. I did think it was incredible how quickly they do make you care about the characters, even
Yeah.
though, and like a lot of the first, like the prologue's about 45 minutes long,
I know.
which
I
I
was gonna
find
say like
hilarious.
let me shout out not having the opening credit sequence until like 45 minutes in.
Yeah, yeah. I just thought they
Um,
weren't going to have an opening credit sequence. Then I
I
realized,
know.
oh no, that's the prologue. That is the prologue. But yeah, even though like most of a prologue is just him saying lines of a play, like he's
Yeah.
not actually doing much of his own talking in, but they still make you care about the characters. Um, yeah, I did find it a little, cold in places because you don't always understand what's going on. That's just, if you do manage to completely grasp all the themes and stuff like that first time around, fair play to you.
Yeah.
But I
I think
doubt you
similar
will.
to Power of the Dog, like it
Yeah,
deserves a rewatch. You weren't
So it
gonna pick
maybe
up
does deserve
everything.
a couple of rewatches.
Yeah,
But yeah, I overall really enjoyed it and did think it was one of the best picture nominees of this year had to
yeah.
offer. I thought, like, me, I don't really care much about flashy visual styles. Hamaguchi doesn't have one here,
The
Um,
cinematography was gorgeous.
exactly. It was gorgeous, but it wasn't flashy, and that's
Yeah,
exactly the kind of like thing I like. I
yeah.
don't like Tragedy Macbeth. That style of cinematography, very bold, very in your face. It's not for me. I prefer the more subtle ones. So I did really appreciate how this one was directed. Screenplay was just great. Although the subtitles I had were a bit dodgy in places. There were a couple of sentences I read where it's just like that doesn't make completely sense. But that does feel like it was a translation issue. So
Yeah,
you can't hold the film accountable for that. But
yeah,
yeah, really, really enjoyed it. Really did enjoy
yeah.
it.
It's I honestly, The Power of the Dog and Drive My Car are tied for first for me between if
Yeah,
I were to rank the Best Picture nominees. I would need to see both of them again. But yeah, I really loved.
yeah.
I love Drive My Car a lot.
I'd probably give it a low 9 if I was to give it a
Yeah,
rating out of 10. A low 9,
yeah.
which is still very good.
For me it's probably a high 9 or a low 10.
Okay.
Like, yeah, like I am not okay with the fact that this didn't get a cinematography nomination.
Mm,
Um, like the scene, like there's a shot. I think it's in the trailer, like where they're holding like cigarettes up out the top of the car, and then there's like lights flashing in the background. It's gorgeous.
mm,
There's a car crash towards the beginning with a great overhead shot. Like he makes colors pop so well and uses light
yeah,
so well. Like it's really
yeah.
great. Also,
But yeah,
this should have gotten an editing nomination. The fact that they made a 3 hour long film feel like interesting and like captivating
yeah,
is like I don't think people understand how impressive that is
mm,
to make
yeah,
3 hours not feel like it's like
yeah.
dragging on.
Like, this feels shorter than House of Gucci. Put it that way. It
Yeah,
feels shorter than House of Gucci,
this feels
which I
shorter than
feel like I'm
Morbius.
just setting as a benchmark now. Like,
This
if
feels
your
shorter
if your
than
film's
Morbius.
yeah,
To reference another Jared
okay,
Leto movie where he says
yeah,
cheap.
oh yeah, yeah. Like,
Um,
if a film's good paced, yeah, it's better than House of Gucci. If it's
yeah.
bad paced, it's worse than House of Gucci. It's a benchmark now, which I guess is a
Also,
way to be remembered.
also if the color palette is something other than gray.
Mm. Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, Drive My Car, good movie. Let's talk about the new trailer for Top Gun Maverick. Okay, listen. We've talked about this before. Top Gun. It's not objectively a great movie,
yeah,
but I am so excited for this. I am so excited for this.
yeah,
Um, I like whatever. I'm here for this. I'm so
yeah. There is. So
um
yeah, I
yeah.
I couldn't care less really, to be honest. I'm sure it will. I actually do think it does have a chance at the Oscars, maybe for like sound,
Sound,
um,
visual
and that
effects,
kind of
maybe.
stuff. Yeah, visual effects as well. Like, if it's received very well,
It's going to
maybe
Cannes.
even
It's going to
editing.
Cannes.
Maybe even editing. Like,
Editing, I think
yeah, we saw
cinematography
we
is
saw No
also
Time to Die, like another
yeah.
blockbuster, just on the edge of editing this year. So maybe if Top Gun is received better than
The
No Time to
first
Die,
one,
it maybe,
the
yeah,
first Top Gun film got editing and then two sound noms. So
yeah.
it's certainly very possible. I think cinematography also has an outside chance. It's being shot by the guy who was the DP on the tree or not the Tree of Life, the Life of Pi, which he
Okay.
won for. So he's a
Mm,
previous cinematography winner. And how they're doing the cinematography with all like the plane stuff. It's like they're having to put like the cameras on the planes, and then has to be like the placement has to be very choreographed because like of how the planes are going to be moving in the air. And then they're going to have to do a lot of stuff in like post to make it all, which is still cinematography, like color grading and everything like that is still part of the cinematography process. So I think there's an
yeah.
outside chance of this getting some cinematography love. So
Yeah.
it's
And I mean, like, yeah, as for the film itself, I'll see it, but I don't really, I'm still going in very skeptical because I didn't like the first one and I don't really know why they're making a second one. But because I don't buy all this, new, nostalgia baiting
yeah,
films, which there seems to be a lot of recently. Like, even, in franchises and Star Wars are doing it a lot,
Ghostbusters, which was not
Ghostbusters, The
good.
Matrix.
Yeah.
So I'm not a fan of all of these sort of nostalgia baiting films. So
Me
this one
neither.
is just another one, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean,
But
having
like,
said that, if they decide to make like a remake of Clue, I'll be all that. I'll be here for it. But you know, as it's that, like which is another objectively not very good film, but one
yeah,
like if it's nostalgia I actually care about, maybe I will be taken in by it. Like
the
Indiana
pretty
Jones
subjective.
5, for example,
Yeah,
is easily going to be my most anticipated movie next year. But this one that I don't hold nostalgia towards, I don't really care, to be
yeah,
honest.
fair, fair. All right, let's get into some reviews.
Okay.
I can kick us off, and then I'll throw to you, and then yeah, okay. The Lost City is not very good. Um, it's Sandra Bullock's final film. I believe she's retiring.
Oh, okay.
Um, and not a great one to go out on. Her and Channing Tatum's chemistry is meh. Like it's a very cliched rom-com, and it does the thing where it like kind of is like, oh, but we're making fun of the cliches, but like
Hmm.
just because you make fun of the cliches doesn't mean that it's like you aren't Scream, like you aren't being the Scream of rom-coms. I joke that F9 was the Scream of action movies, but it is like just making just making fun of something that you're doing that's a cliche doesn't inherit, it doesn't just mean that
Yeah.
it's you can do that. But yeah. But I mean, it's fine. I didn't hate watching it, I guess. um
Hmm.
it feels like this should have been released on a streaming service. This shouldn't have been a theatrical film. It feels very much like a streaming movie, and like I didn't care that much. It's not funny, like, at
Hmm.
all. It thinks it's fun. It's not. Um, like it's just eh. I
Yeah.
I I'll forget about it in a month. It's fun that we're getting like this resurgence of rom-coms. With probably in descending order, The Worst Person in the World, I Want You Back, Marry Me,
Wow.
and then The Lost City.
You're
Um,
really gonna throw the worst person in the world in the same category as this?
it's part of the hey, rom-coms are
Yeah.
making a comeback.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that The
I
Worst Person in the World is a near perfect movie, and this
yeah.
is like,
They're on a different level. They're on a
oh
different
no,
level. I think.
100%. Just like I think like I Want You Back, it's no worst person in the world, but it's like leagues
Mm.
better than Marry Me and The Lost City. But like I'm just saying as a whole, it's fun that we're seeing this genre make a comeback to
Mm.
varying degrees of
Okay.
success. And
Yeah.
all of them are tackling like the cliches of rom-coms, but in a fresh new way. The Worst Person in the World did it perfectly and the best, and I don't think anything in this like new wave will be able to top that. But the other ones tried.
Yeah.
And I Want You Back did a pretty good job of it. And I mean, these other ones were, eh. So like, yeah, I mean, Brad Pitt is phenomenal. He's in the movie for like 5-10 minutes, and he crushes. I need a movie about Brad Pitt's character. I
Okay.
saw this great tweet. It was Brad Pitt is a character actor in a leading man's body, and 100%. I can't wait for the Brad Pitt character actor phase that we're
Yeah.
going to be getting, because it's going to be incredible. Also Daniel Radcliffe is kind of fun. I wish we got more of him. Like,
Hmm.
but overall, this movie's if you've seen the trailer, it's exactly what you'd expect it would be. So
Okay.
I'm gonna place it at a 3 out of 10.
Okay. Okay.
Um, I'll let you go into Sonic now.
Oh, thank you. I get the honor of talking about Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Look, I thought the first one was passable. It did surprise me how actually fun it was, and a lot of that was down to the chemistry between. I don't even remember the name of James Marsden's character. I think it's like Tom. I watched this film
That
yesterday,
sounds
and
right.
I've already forgotten it. Yeah, exactly. I think it's Tom. But a lot of that was down to the chemistry between Tom and Sonic. That is sort of, not really a thing in this film. It's not a spoiler because it happened in like the first 10 minutes. They get split up for most of the film. And it does suffer for it because Tails, I don't like. not an interesting character. Knuckles, such just a basic like villain. Like it's just
Idris
all
Elba, right?
war. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, his voice is commanding, like and whatever, but you know,
I mean, it's Idris Elba.
yeah, exactly. But like a lot of the lore that they, because a lot of the dynamic between Tom and Sonic is traded out for lore, and a lot of that lore doesn't like. I don't care about what they're trying to do. It's all just horribly expositional, like just so bad in terms of exposition. Like a character's talking, it's a natural conversation, and then they just start explaining stuff, which does take you out of the movie every single time that happens. Jim Carrey even is slightly overshadowed and doesn't get enough to do. Like he's not as good as he is in the first one.
I will
Put it
say,
that way.
there's in the trailer he has like this like black and like neon
Mm,
green thing. The costume in the trailer, at least in the shot that they used, looked like it was like bought. It was like a Halloween costume for
yeah,
the trailer. It
yeah.
looked
It,
really
it
bad.
is. It's not good. The visual effects are also like not very good. The way that Sonic and Knuckles and Tails interact with the human environment just does not work. There are like a few mildly amusing moments, I guess, but overall the film is it feels more childish than the first one. Like it feels a lot more childish than the first one.
Yeah.
And like the plot itself is just way more simplistic. It's a very simple plot, it's a very basic plot. It just feels like they were aiming for a different market than the one that they sort of were with the first one.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're interested in learning about the law and like this kind of stuff, then sure, whatever. But as for me, I just did not have as much enjoyment as I did with the first one. I thought the first one just had, you know, it was. I guess you were expecting less because like it was a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. What you were really expecting going in, whereas this one coming off the first one, you did maybe have higher expectations, and it did disappoint. I would be lying if I said it didn't disappoint. Um, was it unwatchable? No, it wasn't unwatchable, but it wasn't good either. So I'd probably give it maybe like a 4 out of 10, probably.
All right. All right. Yeah, I'll be doing a Sonic the Hedgehog 2 and Ambulance double feature when they both come out in the U.S. next weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to my time in
Yeah.
jail. All right. I'll talk about the bubble briefly. Um,
Okay.
I've never been a fan of Judd Apatow.
No.
This didn't
I
change
like
that
Freaks and Geeks. I like Freaks and Geeks, but other than that, no.
with our man Sam
Yeah.
Levine.
Yeah.
Um,
That's actually underestimated. I actually do love Freaks and Geeks, but
okay.
that's like the only thing he's ever done that's ever been good.
Uh, yeah, his films I don't
His films, yeah.
like. I mean, my favorite thing that he's done is the parody of like high school sitcoms, Yo Teach, featuring Bo Burnham,
Yeah.
of which you can find all of those episodes on YouTube, and they're wonderful because Bo Burnham.
Yeah. Actually,
Um,
he did produce Superbad, didn't he? So I guess that sort of
he
comes
didn't
under his
direct
banner,
it
but he
though.
didn't direct it. So yeah,
Yeah.
we can still say we hate Judd Apatow.
But yeah, so this was his first. Was this just Apatow's first since Trainwreck? I think it
Um,
was.
maybe
I can't remember if he did something in between. But anyways, it's really bad. It's about
he
the
did the King of Staten Island.
oh,
That
you're right.
was
I forgot about the King of Staten Island.
yeah,
Thank you. Which I thought the King of Staten Island was decent. I guess
yeah,
that's probably my favorite of his.
yeah. We're getting a bit sidetracked here.
I know, I know. Yeah, the bubble isn't good. It's about trying to make a movie during the pandemic bubble and like making fun of like how like pretentious like Hollywood was being about COVID or whatever. And it's like, but it's really you're like Judd Apatow was making this like really
Mm,
like I really. And it stars Karen Gillan, Keegan Michael Key, Pedro Pascal, Maria Bakalova. Um, they're fine, I guess. Pedro Pascal and Maria Bakalova were probably the standouts. Um, I would be lying if I said that I didn't find aspects of the film funny. Jokes were funny, but Thomas, this is 2 hours and 6 minutes long.
wow.
That is
Okay.
way too long. That's way too much Judd Apatow for me.
Mm,
Like that. It was so much like they tried to do so much and like to the point where like they were just like repeating some jokes from earlier in the movie. It was like it's a mess.
mm.
It is a mess. Did I enjoy watching it? Yeah. Yeah, I did. Do I ever want to watch it again? No. It felt like just this chaotic, like wild ride of a I don't even know how to describe it. It's a movie. Um and it's like, yeah, like stylistically there's nothing. I mean, it's a Judd Apatow movie. It's really just relying on the comedy, which is hit or miss, definitely more miss than hit. And it's, yeah, I don't know. The ending is odd. I just, yeah, I knew I wasn't gonna have that much to say about it because I don't really know how to describe the experience of watching it's
Yeah.
a lot.
Hmm.
It's a lot. Moving on to I'll talk about Morbius.
Okay.
I think I think that this is the worst superhero movie I've ever seen.
Wow. Okay. And
Uh,
that's over things like Green Lantern.
yeah.
Wow. Okay. I mean, Green Lantern will always be the worst superhero movie ever made because 4 years I waited to watch that film. 4 years. It was on like the back of a Yogi Bear poster for the Yogi Bear movie, and it was on like the back of Green Lantern. And I had that Yogi Bear movie poster when I was like 3, and then I said, "Oh, can I watch Green Lantern? Like I can see it on the back. It looks so cool." And my parents said, "No, wait." And so I did. I waited ages to see Green Lantern, and yeah, it disappointed. So it will always be the worst superhero movie I've ever seen.
Um, thanks for sharing.
No
So,
worries. Like therapy.
um, yeah, no, Morbius is really bad. Jared Leto is my least favorite actor, so like I wasn't probably going to
Wow.
like this
Okay.
to begin with. Um, yeah, no, I mean Jared Leto and Ty Sheridan. Sorry guys, but you're at the top of my list. Or I guess
Okay.
bottom, depending on how you want to look at it. Um, yeah, it's I think that he's very bad. I haven't liked Jared Leto in a single thing that I've seen.
Not even Fight Club. I mean, he's
I
barely in Fight Club, so
He's
I mean,
barely in it, and I
yeah.
also think Fight Club is overrated, but that's beside the
Okay.
point.
Yeah.
Um, it's baffling to me that he won for Dallas Buyers Club. He, I
Yeah.
thought that he was actively bad in that role. Also, just doing what Eddie Redmayne did a couple years later of having like men play trans women, like historical like trans women, and that's just like I don't know, like, or like cis men, like can you have like there are trans actors.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
trans actors do exist. Why do we need to hire Jared Leto and Eddie Redmayne to do this, and then give them Oscar wins and nominations?
Yeah.
Like that's a little. I don't
Eddie
know.
Redmayne apologized for it though, didn't he?
He
Like
did.
Jared Leto
Eddie.
hasn't even Jared
Yeah.
Jared Leto hasn't even
No,
apologized for it.
Jared Leto's proud of his Oscar. Eddie Redmayne
Yeah.
a couple of years later was like, yeah, no, that probably wasn't the best, and like, good on you, Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm glad that he did that, and he had the self awareness to realize that that probably wasn't the best thing
No.
to do.
Yeah.
But Jared Leto's like, not like, f you all, like I won an Oscar.
Yeah.
And yeah, do you see he went on? I'm just getting so sidetracked, but like he went on the Tonight Show, and he was in this like like this like blazer, and then he didn't have a shirt, and then he walked in and was like, "Oh, I appear to have forgotten my shirt," and I'm like, just go like bury yourself in a hole. Um,
Okay.
like,
Wow.
sorry, that was probably a bit. Like he can still live. He can like dig himself out, but like
Yeah. Yeah.
I just
Just
maybe
live in a
don't.
cave somewhere
Yeah,
isolated,
yeah,
somewhere where he can't act,
yeah.
basically,
Just
like just away from Hollywood, and I'm
yeah,
sure he'll be fine.
like he can just go find an island somewhere. You have the money.
Yeah.
Anyways, I don't like Jared Leto, and this I don't know how am I gonna clip this out for a review. Um, so yeah, I mean what's insane is that like everybody else around him was as bad, if not worse, especially the antagonist Matt Smith.
Wow, Matt Smith bad. Oh, okay.
Very bad, very bad.
Okay.
Um, then the leading lady, Audrey Arjona, I don't know what she was like. Every single character in this is one dimensional, if
Okay.
not less than one dimensional. You could have told this story like there are characters like, for instance, Martine, who's like Jared Leto's like love interest in this, Morbius's love interest. Literally, this like just there for exposition. That is the sole
Okay.
purpose of her character, for Jared Leto to be like, this is how I'm feeling, and it's not good, and this is why. And her to be like, oh, I know science things. This means this, and this, and if you do this, then this, and like, I don't know. I mean, it's it's so bad. The
Yeah.
VFX look awful. The bats look like they're from a PS2 game.
Wow.
I mean, like the final like climactic fight sequence is like uh, awful. It's so dark you can't see everything. Like see anything. And like the camera's like spinning around and doing like cartwheels and stuff. Like it's you can't tell what's happening. It's also kind of funny. I was alone in the theater. Nobody showed
Oh,
up.
okay.
This is opening
Wow.
night, Thursday opening night. So I was just kind of like heckling it by myself. Um,
Okay.
and laughing at parts that probably weren't supposed to be laughed at. Also,
Yeah.
Tyrese Gibson plays like a police investigator who's like looking into Morbius,
Mm.
and like he's literally does not need to be there. Like
Okay.
it seemed like they were setting up like Morbius like as like this vampire versus society and how they see him, but no, they just do nothing with it. There's like maybe 10 to 15 minutes of Tyrese Gibson and his partner, like looking around and like like trying to figure stuff out, and it's just there's nothing. It
Yeah.
means absolutely nothing. There's no conclusion to it. They're just like there for a little bit to provide expositional points. And
Yeah.
also, like it was actually quite funny. The front of the newspapers are like, um, Dr. Michael Morbius condemned to vampire murders. It's like, what the that would not. They wouldn't even say his name on the paper. Like that's not how
No.
you. I
No.
don't know. It's really
Yeah.
bad. The dialogue is awful. Also, okay, so I guess minor spoilers. Thomas, do you care about the post credit
I'm
scene
not. I'm
spoilers?
not seeing the film. I'm not seeing the
Okay,
film. No.
so minor spoilers for the post credit scene. Everybody, actually, no, major spoilers for the post credit scene. But whatever. Um, the post credit scene is Michael Keaton as Adrian Toomes getting
Mm.
transported into Jared Leto's Morbius universe, because of the Spider-Man No Way Home dimensional thing where everybody like switches universes or whatever. Why would he go? Because like the logic that was set up in No Way Home is that everybody who knows that like Spider-Man is Peter
Yeah.
Parker go, and like he knows. So why did he go into the Sony verse instead of
Unless
into
Morbius is part of, unless they're trying to claim Morbius is like part of, Tom Holland's Spider Verse.
but Michael Keaton's Adrian Toomes would have already been there
Oh, that's true.
because
Yeah.
he was transported away from it.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
it's him meeting up with Morbius, and then they're like, we're going to team up, and presumably they're going to team up with Venom too.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I don't know who was ever like excited. Like from every single trailer, I just said, yeah, it's going to be a bad film, isn't it? Like
Yep.
nothing about this movie said, yeah, it's going to be good. I was never ever excited about it. I don't know how people were. So like, yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not going to see it.
And it's also
And
just boring. Like I almost fell asleep
yeah,
three different times where I was like
yeah,
yawning and like my eyes were closed and like I was like,
I'm
wait, no.
sure I would have 100% fallen asleep
Yeah.
if I fell
Anyway,
asleep during the Batman, which was a good film that I really really enjoyed.
yeah.
I would have definitely fallen asleep in Random Morbius.
Rating 0.
Okay,
It's
wow. Okay, 0.
no redeeming qualities. Yeah, no, we can move on from that one. It's just bad. It's just really,
Mhm.
really bad. All right, let's move on to so neither of us actually know each other's opinion of this because Letterboxd is
No.
down, so neither of us were able to log it. Follow us at Trevor Matson and at T Gladstone, Thomas Gladstone. But let's talk
Yeah.
about Apollo 10 and a half. Something that I even not knowing each other's opinions, I would say that it's safe to say that I liked it more than Morbius, and
Yes. Yeah.
I'm presuming you would have liked it more than Morbius as well had you seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.
General thoughts. I'll let you go first on this one. Opening thoughts on Apollo 10
So,
and a half.
general thoughts. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was just, a very sweet film. Will it leave much of an impact on me? No. It feels like a very personal film. which he wanted to tell. And like, cool, he's done enough successful films to be able to tell these sorts of stories. So that's good on him. You know, I do really like this animation style. I will say that because like, you know, I've never been a fan of hyperactive animation in general. Or like this, you know, 3D animation. You all know the sort of DreamWorks Illumination animation. But
Yeah.
even like, I prefer this kind of animation to like a lot of Lord and Miller's on like Cloudy and Chance of
Okay.
Meatballs. I prefer this type of because I just think it's like it reminded me a bit of like Flea's animation. I know they are different, but you know
Yeah.
that's so it's a more calming, you know,
Minimalistic.
yeah, more minimalistic, more like naturalistic to an extent, like
Yeah.
kind of style. And that I think really worked for the film because like it couldn't have been told live action. I was worried going in, yeah, it probably could have been told live action, but no, actually, if you watch the film,
Yeah.
there are like a lot of things that happen in it that are like, yeah, cool. It should have been
Really well
animation.
edited. It's really
Yeah,
well edited.
yeah, it is really well edited, and like, yeah, he made the right decision on that one. Do I think it'll be like animated feature, best animated feature? Probably not. Probably not. With how stacked this year is, and how like because it's a small release, like it wasn't even on Netflix's front page when it was, like the
Yeah.
first day it was on there. So you know, I had to actually search for it.
Yeah.
And yeah, like it was just a sweet film, a feel good film that had no real faults to it. It
Yeah.
just didn't really make me love it. Like it never really had a moment where I was like, yes, I'm really on board with the film. I always just thought, yeah, it's good. It's a fun little journey, but nothing more than that.
Yeah, I agree. I also really like it. It's I love Richard Linklater.
Mm,
He's made some of my favorite movies of all time. Boyhood, Before
yeah,
Sunrise. Like I love a lot of his movies.
yeah,
And like this felt very similar. I mean, he definitely has a very distinct style in writing.
mm,
As far as very thoughtful writing, I would say. All of his writing always feels very like careful and like tender.
yeah,
Um, and like this was no different. I was worried that the animation style wouldn't work for me. It did. I liked it. I wouldn't say that I like my favorite type of animation style is like Lord Miller type of animation. But I would agree I don't like that, Illumination DreamWorks type of animation style. I would say similar to our cinematography tastes. I like the very like profound, like over embellished stuff.
yeah,
Like, Lord Miller, like Tragedy of Macbeth was my personal favorite
yeah.
cinematography of last year.
Was
So
I
like
like it? You know, it can be beautiful, yeah, but not in your face beautiful.
yeah, whereas I like in your face beautiful. But yeah, like I think the animation style worked. I highly suggest everybody go watch Waking Life, which is another rotoscope film that Linklater did. It's very, very good. It's like a dream, the entire movie. And he does this rotoscoped, and it's just like it's. I don't want to say it's an anthology, but it's just like someone like floating through a dream, like seeing a bunch of different like scenes and like small little bits and pieces of reality. And it's very, very good. I watched it because one of the bits of reality is Jesse and Celine from the Before trilogy.
Yeah,
um but overall, like it is a very good film. And yeah, no, Apollo 10 and a half, like this worked for me. It also felt very nostalgic towards the 60s,
mm,
which might
yeah,
be like why I never like fully connected on an
maybe,
emotional level to
maybe,
it.
yeah. But I did
But
appreciate the very like it very had a real sense of like time, which I really did
yeah,
appreciate about it.
yeah, yeah, 100%. It captured that time period. Like I feel like I understand what it was like growing up in the 60s
Mm,
from this film, which is very impressive. Um and just like he captures like just like the childlike wonder so well, as far as like seeing the world through the eyes of a child, that I think Come On did so well, and that I think Belfast tried to do. Um, so like I overall really, 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 really just enjoyed this movie. I agree similarly. There is nothing that put me into the love category, but like would happily watch this again. There wasn't a moment where I like nothing took me out of the movie. It's just a
No,
very engaging, engrossing, entertaining movie.
it breezed by as well. It was a short film.
Yeah, it's like an hour and a half. Animated feature is going to be hard for it to get into. It needs some of the big, like, it needs Lightyear to be like, Finding Dory.
Yeah,
It needs Spider-Man to be underappreciated. It needs Strange World to be a flop from Disney. Like, it needs it needs some of the bigger contenders to go down for it to have a chance because yeah, like Netflix isn't really pushing this in animated. They're going to be pushing Pinocchio stronger than this.
yeah, yeah.
Even My Father Dragon from the Wolfwalkers team is probably going to get pushed harder than this,
Probably.
which is sad because I thought that this was very good. But yeah, any other thoughts before we move on?
No, not really. I think we've covered it all there. I'd probably, if I was giving it a rating out of 10, probably like 7.5, maybe like, yeah, low
Okay.
8, mid 7, like that sort of region.
Yeah, I'm probably at about an 8, just
Okay.
solid middle to low 8. So overall, I really enjoy this film.
Yeah.
I'd highly suggest it to everybody. If you have like an hour and a half, it's just a fun breezy film.
Hmm.
But I believe that is everything, Thomas.
That is everything.
So
Yeah.
that is the show. A fun show. We've been pretty consistently hitting the hour mark on some of these recent ones. Um, we'll be still covering stuff all throughout Oscars off season. Cannes is in a month. So
Wow.
we'll have a lot to cover with that. We'll be covering all of the first reactions for that. We'll have our early predictions coming out very, very soon.
Very shortly.
And we'll have updates to those. I don't know if we'll do updates every month, but we'll definitely be updating those throughout the summer, especially post Cannes. We'll be
Yeah.
updating some stuff. And just as we get to see more trailers and everything. So that will be exciting. Plus, we will be doing some retrospectives, looking back at different Best Picture races specifically, and giving our own takes on what we thought should have won. So a lot to look forward to in Oscars off season. And still, Thomas, like we're only 5 months away from Venice Film
Yeah.
Festival.
Yeah.
Which leads into New York, which leads into Toronto, like, and then we're
Yeah.
right back into
It's
it.
a never ending cycle. It's a never
Yeah,
ending cycle.
yeah. But until we see you, our lovely audience again, Thomas, where can everybody find you?
You can find me at YouTube at Project Mayhem. I had a rebrand. Yeah, I still
Wow,
won't be posting on there for a long time. Probably June. You'll see another video, I reckon. And on Letterboxd at Thomas Gladstone, as always.
I get that reference now because I saw Fight Club.
Yeah, there you go.
You can find me YouTube at The Basement. We're nearing on our 1 year anniversary of that show.
Wow. Yeah.
So yeah, it's been a fun time. We're going to be getting on some guests soon, so it's a fun
That's
time over
nice.
there. Then I'm also on Letterboxd at Trevor Matson. Almost forgot my name. And then on Twitter at TM Talks Movies, where I'm tweeting more.
Wow.
Tweeting more.
There you go.
I'm getting better at it.
You've jumped on the Twitter trend.
Yeah. Well, I mean, all I needed was for me to get lots of likes, and my Morbius tweet got lots of likes. I'm like, all right, I'm a Twitter person now.
Yes.
And then I'm also reviewing things on the Banana Meter, so you can also find me occasionally over there. But thank you everybody so much for watching, and look out for our Oscars predictions because it is going to be a very fun video. Till then,
For
stay
sure.
safe, everybody, and goodbye.